everybody. It is 7 p.m. on Monday, December 14th, 2020, here, 7 p.m. Central Time. Tonight, I'm being joined by, I should have asked him before we came up. Is it Svn.Seeker? Give me a thumbs up. All right. Sun with the V. They're going to be, Nikita and Pat are joining me here in just a minute. And, of course, I got to put this up first thing. Garrett, sweet, let's go. Thanks for being my number one supporter, Garrett. I appreciate it. Before we get the band on, I have a couple things. I want to give you this special message.
All right, I just wanted to give a shout out to The Most Epic Adventures, starring Robb Zipp as your gracious host and his adventures all around the world. I'm coming at you from Almaty, Kazakhstan, here in the snow. Hasn't snowed in a couple days, but we still have a lot of snow on the ground, all this white stuff. All right. Keep the adventures epic, drink water, and enjoy nature, and listen to heavy metal music.
All right, thanks, Russell. All the way from... I'm back. Sorry. I use a Mac and I have the Magic Mouse, and if you just touch it the wrong way, it goes back on the back browser. So if you guys see that happen, I just disappear. That's what happens. So I'm back. I want to give you a couple things. I am broadcasting live on my personal Facebook, the Most Epic Adventures Facebook page, the Robb Zipp Show Facebook page, the Most Metal Productions Facebook page, the Most Metal Facebook group Facebook page, youtube.com/Robb Zipp, at Most Epic Show on Twitter, and twitch.tv/Robb Zipp. And I've also shared the video on like 30 different Facebook groups, all using StreamYard. StreamYard is an awesome browser-based broadcast software that does have a free version, but you can get a lot out of the paid version. If you would like to use StreamYard, I do have a referral link in my description. You can see the description on YouTube or on the Facebook posts. It's both places. So use that, and we'll both get some kickback on that. So also, I am a liquid death peddler. Mountain water from the Alps can murder your thirst. I've been telling people to drink water for a long time. Now I've got an affiliate program going on with Liquid Death. Let's pop this bad boy open. It doesn't have much of a fizz. It's just water, but it will murder your thirst. If you want to help the show out and help me out, I do have a link in the description for my affiliate link for Liquid Death. So if you buy stuff using my affiliate link, you'll save 10% off, and they'll know it's coming from me. So I'll be that much closer to collecting those souls. So with that business out of the way, let's welcome in Nikita and Pat from Svn.Seeker. Welcome, guys.
What's up, buddy? Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm sorry about all that business at the front end,
Happens. I mean, I'm using a dinky interface that I bought when I was like 17. I'm surprised this thing works, so no worries.
Well, that's the great thing about StreamYard is you don't need like a high-powered broadcast center to put out a somewhat quality production.
It's nice. It's definitely nice.
And what kind of setup are you using, Pat? You look like you have a gamer setup going on down there.
I don't game as much as I used to. I do have like the DX Racer chair and stuff like that, but work's been keeping me busy, so not quite as much gaming. But yeah, normally I'm big into PC gaming.
Nice. Well, so I was supposed to have my buddy Kendrick Van Dusen. He has a clothing line called Beautifully Brutal, but he's also the drummer for a death metal band in Atlanta called Violence System. So very, very cool guys. He couldn't make it. And Nikita, you actually emailed me just a couple days ago It just seemed kind of like out of the blue. I'm on a few promo lists, so I'm not exactly sure how you got my information, but here's the thing: I get a lot of press releases, and it's hard to kind of wade through, wade through them, honestly. But you personally messaged me, and you're like, "Hey, Rob, oh, and he's gone. He's out."
He'll be back, I'm sure.
I don't know. He looks like he hit that exit button. He didn't like me.
Whoopie.
You like fuck this guy.
Accidental F5. I found. Sorry about that. You have the magic mouse. I have the magic F5, and they both got away.
I thought. I don't know. I was thinking maybe the Mother Russia statue might have offended.
Yeah, I was about to say. I saw that. I'm like, I know that statue. I've been there. I remember that.
Anyway, so I was saying that you actually personally messaged me, and you're like, hey, we got this band. It's not out. We don't have anything out yet, but it will be out in February.
Yep.
And here's our SoundCloud link. So I listened to it, and I was like, not to say that it was better than I expected would be an insult. You know what I mean? Like it was
no offense. I get it, man. Trust me. I've been on the other side with the promos. I did, college radio for a long time and stuff, and I do a bit of writing for Alternative Control now. So I totally get what you mean when you get inundated with hundreds upon hundreds of promo emails, and it's anything from like, oh look, this is Relapse Records, okay, versus like, oh look, this is a label I've never heard of, and that's not a band I want to hear. So don't worry about that. I get what you mean.
It's like the random SoundCloud link. You never quite know what you're going into at that point. So it's understandable.
I just went to I don't know if you guys have subscribed to my YouTube yet.
Yep.
Awesome. But I just went with my parents. There was a there's a traveling thing called Jurassic Quest, and it's these animatronic dinosaurs. And you drive through, and some of them move and make noises and stuff, but you can listen to an audio tour. They send you a SoundCloud link. I thought that was funny.
check out my mixtape of paleontological facts and dinosaur roars.
Right.
I feel like you just got to get the Jurassic Park Dino DNA thing going over and over again.
Well, they're Jurassic Quest, not Jurassic Park.
Right.
There is there's a huge thing, but yeah, they make sure in all the messages that Jurassic Quest is a registered LLC, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Oh, Garrett wants to know if you can pronounce your full name.
Oh, so all three. Okay, yeah. So it's Nikita Alexeyevich Khrenov. If you want to use like the proper Russian pronunciation, when you anglicize like a lot of Russian stuff, for some reason they replace the H with a KH because it gets sounds harder. So they say Khrenov in English, but yeah, that's the full name is Nikita Alexeyevich Khrenov, or Khrenov if you're Slavic / Eastern European. Sorry, I don't know which one people prefer.
Whatever.
Hey,
it's what you prefer. It's your name, bro.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not so much like my name, but like either like people like to be called Slavs or Eastern Europeans. It's like, I guess it's up to them. I don't know. My folks got weird with me when I said Slavic. I'm like, well, not really. And I go, all right, I'm not getting into this conversation at dinner time.
What is that on your wall? Like, you have somebody impaled on your wall?
Oh, that? No, my girlfriend and I were Christmas decorating. That's Yukon from the reindeer, from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yukon, what is it? Yukon Cornelius or something like that?
I think so. I've never seen the movie in full, to be honest.
It's not very long. It's pretty cute. I mean, it's a classic.
Yeah. I just haven't seen it. She loves it though, but yeah.
Tis the season, bro. And Garrett says thanks.
You got it.
He's a nice young dude. I think he's in the 8th grade. A couple of his brothers are in a band that I interviewed.
Oh, nice.
So he's been a big supporter of mine ever since. So,
dude, that's awesome, man.
That.
Like, I think I was in 8th grade when I started getting into metal and stuff like that. Like, my mom took me to see Iron Maiden.
Nice.
Maybe that was 7th grade. Either way, it was in that middle school era where I started getting into, like, really into metal.
Uh huh.
And so, like, that's awesome that you got a young fan like that. Just gotta direct him into the right ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It always starts with Maiden. Always. That was that's definitely one of my first ones that got me down the path.
Really? I was
Yeah.
actually late to Maiden because I started off. I think I started off getting into. I think I sat down. I remember for a fact I sat down and listened to um, Megadeth's "Rust in Peace" album when that came out. I'm a little older than you guys,
Oh, good.
so I listened to that and it blew me away. It just blew me away. And so I was like, well, I need heavier and heavier. So
Right.
I just went straight to that, to Gore Guts. so to me, Iron Maiden with the theatrics and everything, I was like, no, I want brutal,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and then maybe 18, several years later, I was in Chicago and Iron Maiden was playing with Dio and Motorhead, and me and my friends were like, well, let's go. We all loved Motorhead. We all had respect for
Right.
Motorhead, and and then everybody knows Dio and everything. But I was like, I'll see Iron Maiden. I hear it's a good show. Well, we got lucky enough to get, right when we got there, we wanted lawn tickets. It was like an outdoor amphitheater kind of place
Yep.
that had like
Yep.
seats and then like a grass lawn in the back. And we got there and there were four of us, and they said they had 4 tickets in the front row center. And we were like, fuck, let's do it.
Yeah, I'd do that.
And we did it. And dude, I was like, what the hell was wrong with me? Why did I never listen to Maiden before? And
Honestly,
it was.
Well, it's with Maiden, it's like you really have to experience them live to get it. I think
Maybe.
Like, don't get me wrong, they're 100% quality, like, on record with Bruce. I mean, I'm kind of impartial to the Paul Di'Anno years, and Virtual 11 and X Factor were all right, but I felt like those songs were kind of like lukewarm. So I mean, I'm a Bruce guy, and like, on record they're great, but once you see them live and you see the amount of energy they all have, and it's like always at past the limit, it's just like you can't not love it at that point.
Absolutely.
It's like conversion camp for old school metal. It's like, yep, you see Maiden and you're converted to 80s heavy metal. That's it.
I don't think we discussed this when I introduced you guys, but what roles do you guys have in the band?
Oh, well, I'm a vocalist and lead guitarist, and kind of like manager, PR, and I guess like overall songwriter, I guess you say. And I do a lot of the behind the scenes work. Pat?
The drums.
Well, you help a lot on the social medias. It's mostly you and me.
It takes a lot, honestly. Like, Nikita's been very good with organizing this stuff. I'm trying to get a little bit more involved with it, but nowadays you got to be on top of all that stuff if you want to get a little bit more of a following,
Yeah, absolutely. Trust me, I know. Absolutely know, man. So tell me about the band.
I guess I'll start for the most part. So I used to play in another band called Archaic Decapitator, and I had to leave that band in the beginning of 2016. And I was kind of like dabbling with writing stuff for a while, and I was just stuck in a job I hated and just kind of looking at dumps. And I spoke to I used to work with the bass player, Robb O.B. Lembo. Shout outs to O.B. And we just kind of started jamming for a bit. He was on guitar at the time. And after a while of going through a few songs I had, in my back pocket and stuff, we kind of came to the conclusion that it gelled really well. And I figured, fuck it, let's just bad language. Let's just go for it. Let's start a band. And it happened to be that Rob sent Pat a couple of Guitar Pro MIDI tracks I had done with like some rudiment, basic drum patterns and stuff like that. And Pat, you were in Mass at the time, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm from Connecticut originally, but I'd moved up to Mass for school and was up there for a few years. But I'd come back a few times and written some stuff with Rob in the past, stuff that just like never really took off. But um, Rob had mentioned Nikita and how they were starting to play, and just kind of been talking about like, hey, you should get down here, we should try to jam and stuff like that. And I'd already been considering moving back, so once we kind of got to play together, jam a little bit, it just made a lot of sense. And honestly, I was looking towards moving back, but that was really what kind of pushed me over the edge to finally moving back. Because I'd wanted to be in a band playing a lot of heavier stuff for a while. I'd done some things that like weren't really in line with exactly what I was looking for. Still good music, but like now it feels like a lot better to be part of a creative force that like is more in line with what I've been looking to play for a while.
And it just kind of worked out with that, Rob moved over to bass because we were having a tough time finding a bass player, and he wanted to dive headfirst into that. And I had a friend of mine from college, Jeff, who's the rhythm player, who I contacted, and he wasn't doing much, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll come and jam." We did a couple of tryouts, and it was kismet. And the next thing you know, I'm busting my hump writing and trying to get everything going, and it's where we're at now. Just weeks of jamming in a fairly nice, jam room, and here we are. It kind of was a blur from like saying like, all right, we're going to record, to like the recording process to now. I don't remember much of it.
Yeah, I mean, what made you guys decide to just go ahead and record this and try to get it out and everything?
Well, for me, it was just like the natural step. You know what I mean? You start a band, and I had been in a high school band that basically just stayed in the basement. We paid for like a logo, and that was it. And we just never did anything with it, and I couldn't do that. So I took kind of like what I learned from my more serious band, the band I was part of, Archaic Decapitator. Um, I took what I learned from being in that band, and I was like, I just applied it to what I'm doing now, because it was basically, practice every week, get tight, get tight. Once we feel like we're all pretty comfortable at a certain point, you move on to recording. You get the best performance possible. You put out the best product possible. We recorded with Dave Kaminsky. He works at Studio Wormwood. He's done bands like, I don't know if you know Bone Church. They're a pretty solid doom band. He did the Fires in the Distance record that came out this year. It was actually my friends who used to be in Archaic Decapitator. They moved on to that one. So I've known him for a while, and I've always heard like really good things about his production style, and just, hit him up. We were both on the same page. He came down to check out a few songs at rehearsal. He dug what we were doing, and it's like, it's like I say, I've said, I believe in the press release, like he was like the de facto fifth member after that one rehearsal. Like he got it immediately. He knew what we were going for. We kind of, he asked a couple questions. We gave him the answers, and he was just like, boom, I got it. We're in. We're good. We're scheduled the time and just banged it out. It was, it's just the natural thing. You start a band, you want to release the music, and I think I'd like to speak for like the rest of the band, whereas we all want to put out something quality. We don't, I didn't want to half-ass it. I can't do things half-assed at all. So we just, we went in there and made sure we got the best we could out of it with the best guy we could, and I think it came out really, really well.
I think it's really easy too, like you were saying, that like a lot of times when you get into these bands and you're just jamming and stuff like that, it's hard to kind of take that next step. So Nikita did a really good job kind of lighting a fire under us and kind of putting things together to actually take that next step. And he's right. If I'm putting my name on it, or if we're putting our name on it as a collective, we definitely wanted to make sure that we did our due diligence and like really put out the best thing that we possibly can and didn't really cut any corners. And I'm pretty proud of what we've been able to do so far. So I'm looking forward to the full release.
I've heard it. I got that secret super special SoundCloud link. I can't wait for other people to be able to hear it. It's going to be in February, right?
Yep, February 4th.
And is that going to be out? How's that going to be released?
So it's mostly, we're doing digital, all streaming platforms. We're also going to have a CD in limited numbers for anyone who wants to actually have the physical media. We have a nice digipack. We got artwork made up by Kalen Stockermans, who works with like everybody. He's done stuff for Acacia Strain and then Fair Eye, and Fires in the Distance.
Nice.
He does fantastic work. So we have mostly going to be digital, but we're going to have a couple a short run right now of CDs available for anyone who wants to have it to actually physically bump it in their car.
Right on. And you guys, I'm guessing you guys are putting that out on your own.
Yep, all independent. We had an offer from a label. Like I want to say,
I like how you put air quotes for that.
yeah, it was like I think it was a month and a half, maybe 2 months after we officially announced the band, and it was one of those things where I'm just like, we don't have any music out. We have a couple of clips out. I'm not going to sign with anything right now, and it's just I'd rather DIY it as much as we can at this point, just to kind of put that hustle in, not be bound down by like a contract that is going to end up making things more difficult for us in the end. Because I mean, I've heard horror stories from even established bands that they were like, they put out like their first EP or whatever through a tiny label in like Canada or whatever, and they're like they hated it, and they have like a hell of a time of getting the rights back. It's just a necessary headache for a band, an up and coming band from a small state like Connecticut. I'd rather just put in a work on our own. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are pluses and minuses to everything for sure, and you have to know where you're at and what you're willing to be able to do. I know, like if a label gives you money, they expect to get that money back somehow. So, and that's tough, especially right now with no tours or anything. It's not like you could hit the road and sell a bunch of physical copies of stuff.
That's exactly it, and I think that's what a lot of a lot of newer bands never get like laced up like that. You know what I mean? You don't have a lot of bands who learn that labels, yeah, they'll give you money and they'll give you support, but you have to be there. It's an investment. You know what I mean? They're a lending company that's investing in a product. So if you're like us, we have 200 likes, 240 likes on average across all platforms, and yeah, a label could probably help us get that, but that doesn't necessarily mean sales. It doesn't mean people are going to be invested long term. And it's like, yeah, like you said, if they can pay for the recording and printing and stuff, but that money's got to go back. And if it's not, if we can't make that back with the CDs or the pre-orders or the merch or whatever, that's out of the pocket. And it's a scary thing to do, especially as a young band just starting out without any brand name or anything.
Well, I want to show your Bandcamp page.
By all means.
Let me do that here.
Yep, we can fill in time. How you doing?
No, there we go.
Oh,
there it is. There, yeah. It only takes a second. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't take long. I should have had it more prepared. I should have had it prepared before. But you can see on your Bandcamp page, you do have the date Main Soon End available.
Yes, sir.
2/4 to 2021.
Mm-hmm.
There's your what's that? Spotify, iTunes, and Bandcamp. So people can buy the digital. You can pre-order it.
Yep. It'll be up on Spotify and Apple Music, iTunes day of release. We don't have a pre-release pre-save yet, but it'll be up there, guaranteed.
Right on. And you've got you had some guest vocals here.
Yep. So we have
Carl Chamberlain,
good friend of mine, Carl Chamberlain. He's part of a local like technical black metal band called Alcyone. I know they're right now grinding hard on getting their new release out. They have an old one up on Bandcamp from like 5 years ago, but it's nowhere near like the quality of the stuff they have now. We actually played with them back in November of last year before everything hit, and it was one of the best shows. Man, they were so good.
So you list as some of your influences: Soilwork, Arsis, and Depeche Mode.
Oh yeah, dude, I love Depeche Mode. It's like one of my number one bands ever.
Nice.
It's because with Depeche Mode and a lot of those like new wave electronic bands, it's not so much about like technicality or heaviness as it's minimalistic in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't worry about like how many notes or how much of what you can fit in there. You worry about on like hooks and getting just enough out of there so people can remember the song. And I think that's kind of the approach I had with a lot of what I've learned from listening to basically everything Depeche Mode is just songwriting and keeping things concise and not too fluffy.
And this is your album cover.
That's it.
And
Yep.
who did the art again? You said you taught
Kalen Stockermans did the
Stockerman.
artwork. He's done artwork for like Acacia Strain and tons of bands like that.
This actually looks like an oil painting.
Yeah, it does. I like that style he added onto it. If it's honestly, like, I had one vision in my head when we did this, and then when Kalen got his hands on it, he took it in a different route, but it's just like in the best way. Now I'm super happy with it. I think Pat is.
I've liked it a lot, and honestly, I liked him. Like I said, he took like Nikita said, he took the original idea, but he kind of sent us updates along the way to kind of show us where it was going. Took a little bit of feedback from us, but really, it was cool to get like a look into what his thought process was around it, and he did some really cool stuff. Definitely check out his website. Some of the other album art he's done is like crazy good, and yeah, I'm super happy with this. The inside of like the packaging of the album as well looks really, really cool. So yeah, I'm definitely happy with it.
Oh yeah.
So tell me what's going on here. It seems like these people are chained to a monolith of some sort.
Right. So that ties into the theme of the EP. Means to an end basically it's what it is on the tin. It's the means, like how we die. Generally the EP takes on each song kind of deals with a different manner of dying and different ways of coping with that. And with the ultimate track, the final song basically means it's all just the means to an end. Whatever way you go, we go the same way, and no matter how you pass, what you've done in life is what people will remember you for. And so at the end of the day, it's like don't worry about how you go, worry about what you do now. And so with the piece, the monolith is basically the entryway to the afterlife. Everyone's chained to it, and everyone comes from many different directions and many different places, and they're pulled to it via different means. And each doorway has a different means of transcending, but at the end of the day, you're going to the same place. And so that's the meaning behind the album and the meaning behind the artwork.
Very cool, man. That's nice. It makes sense, and it's good that you have a cohesive idea with the art and the music. It's not just some bits from here and there. Though I'm sure some of the riffs and stuff were put together over time, right?
Yeah. So a couple of songs were the first real song, Pilfered. Oh, thanks, Russell. I wasn't very happy when I wrote most of the stuff. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. I think that was in one of your press releases or something.
Yep,
where you talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Seeking My Own Son. That one was I wrote probably right before we Rob and I started jamming back in 2017. I was not in a good place at the time. That's why why the song is about what it's about. But Pilfered I wrote honestly at this point 8 years ago. At least like the main riffs of Pilfered were written about 8 years ago after another friend of mine, funnily enough, passed away because I was trying to do a project with someone else, and that never went anywhere. But I kept the song.
I wouldn't say that's funny enough.
Well, no, it's kind of it's I mean, it's funny in a dark way, but no, yeah, the a lot of these songs, they come from not a very happy place, and some of them were written more recently, and then some of them were written over time. But I think it all comes together really well, and I made sure to update the older songs with a bit of my current mindset.
Fair enough. So things are good. Things are good now.
I mean, they're getting better.
Okay.
I have an avenue. I have an outlet. I have an outlet
Right.
for
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Things are tough. It's definitely been a rough year. Everything, world issues notwithstanding, but
Right.
I'm trying. It's definitely better than it was back in 2017. So I feel it's on the up and up. Hopefully this EP will go well, and that'll bring me up higher. So if you want to see me still kicking, pre-order.
What do you guys plan to do with the EP?
So for the most part right now, what we're doing is this is basically like our introduction. This is kind of more, besides being a very meaningful EP to us in our own ways, it's also, the first step for us. So I'm trying to go forward. I think I can safely speak for everybody else, as we want to push this as hard as we can. This is basically our big first step, and then from here on out, it's just going to be that's going to be the base, and we're going to build off of that. I have songs in the works. We do have one song almost basically completed that we've been jamming for a while. I've got a couple more in the works for the next release. Probably going to do another EP just to still test out the waters. But yeah, man, this is going to be our, I'm going to push it as hard as we can, make sure as many people can get it and check us out, get on board on the Sunny train, seeking that sun. And, from here on out, just going to be more music coming, more content, stuff like that.
Nice. Yeah, and the thing about starting off with like 2 EPs is if a label came up and wanted to put something on vinyl or something, it'd be a great way to re-release those as one LP.
Oh yeah. What I think is, and this is an issue with, not an issue, but it's something that the metal and rock community really has a tough time with grasping, is that generally people's attention spans are shorter.
Yeah.
Like personally, I would rather hear more EPs than like full length albums, because not every album should be, like 40, 45 minutes. And even then, you can put out EPs quicker. The attention span of the average listener tends to be shorter. So I feel that with EPs, you have a better chance of reaching people and seeming active. Especially now, like we'll have bands that'll take like 2-3 years to put out a record, and every time I see that come up, it's like, oh, I forgot these guys were still around. Because 2-3 years, you're like, yeah, you're touring, but
yeah, I mean that's another thing. I mean, some of those bands, they're constantly on the road, so it's pretty hard to get into the studio.
Right. But that also means you take less time in the studio when you put out an EP. I know a band's on the road are working on stuff. I definitely know they're working on stuff when they're either in the bus or in the van. You slap that down, if you can slap that down pretty quick and you spend less time and spend less money in the studio, that's feel that'd be a quicker turnaround for a lot of these bands, and you keep yourself more active.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, there are different ways to go about it that work for everybody.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes you have a concept that you can't fit on a 20 to 30 minute EP, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's a thing for everybody, but I'd love to see more EPs. Like some of my favorite outings for bands are EPs. Like the Dillinger Escape Plan Ironies of Dead Scene EP with Mike Patton is just French kiss.
My very first tattoo is the Faith No More logo.
Ah, nice.
I am a huge Mike Patton fan. I am friends with people like because of Mike Patton. Like my friend Fernando, I was wearing a Faith No More shirt at university, and he chased me down and was like, "I'm going to be your friend." And that's been like 24 years now. So yeah, man, Mike motherfucking Patton, you just made my day. What do you think? I was wearing the new Mr. Bungle hoodie. What do you think of that raging?
The Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny.
Yeah, I can't even say it. Demo. Yeah, you got to add demo.
Yeah,
Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo.
Like I'm so conflicted. I don't know about you, Pat, but I'm like a big Mr. Bungle fan. Like I jammed the self-titled album so much in high school, it's burned in my brain. And like recently, I finally did a deep dive on like Disco Volante in California. So like I'm deeply ingrained in those 3 albums for Bungle.
I mean, those were the 3 albums.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard rips of the original Raging Wrath and Bowel of Chile and whatever, and it's like I get it's Bungle and I get it's Mike Patton, and if he wants to do a full thrash record with Dave Lombardo and Scotty, and he can do that.
Yeah,
but it's to me, it's not the Bungle brand, even though it technically is still Bungle. Well, I'm sure that Baz isn't too happy about it.
No, you can't say that's not, like you just mentioned. They're self-titled, Disco Volante and California. All 3 of those albums were completely different.
Right.
So if you and the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo they made first. This is just a re-recording of that.
Right.
So to say that it's not Mr. Bungle is
But is it though?
it totally is. Mr. Bungle is whatever they want to be. And they went back to what they originally were.
They did,
Which is like a thrash band.
It's funny, but then they also
with the best thrash drummer and best thrash rhythm guitarist.
Without a doubt. No, they got a really good lineup for it. And it is nice to hear a lot of those songs in like non-garbage quality.
Right.
But there's also a reason they got away from that thrash route back from like 86. And there's a reason they went through like and got super weird. Like they always kept it, don't get me wrong, they always kept it heavy with like the metal influences in a lot of the songs. I mean, they reuse riffs from Raging Wrath in the self-title. I think in Love is a Fist, the last riff they reused.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just not. It's not what I think of when I think Bungle, and it's not what Bungle made their name on. I feel, you know what I mean.
Bungle made their name on the fact that their lead singer also was in Faith No More.
That was a big part of it, without a doubt.
That's how they got the record label. That's the only reason he went. The only reason he joined Faith No More was he said, "Well, I'll be in Faith No More, but you have to sign my band, the band he was in."
Yeah,
it was fun. It was fun. You know, I mean, you know this, but I mean, for people that are watching that maybe don't like. Jim Martin, Faith No More kicked out Chuck Mosley. They needed a singer. Jim Martin recruited Mike Patton from Mr. Bungle, but he said Warner Brothers has to sign Mr. Bungle as well. So and then they kicked. He got Jim Martin kicked out of Faith No More.
Classic switcheroo.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to cut it short, I liked the Raging Wrath demo. 2020 is fine. I would have just like rather heard more like weird and wacky stuff, a la California and Disco Volante. That's all. I'll leave it at that, I guess.
California, I was able to go to the California tour.
Oh, that must be fun.
And there's a picture on the Wikipedia for Mr. Bungle, and it's at that show I was at. It was at that show. And I'm probably in that picture somewhere. My friend that chased me down, he was there. He said he can see himself in that picture. But,
nice.
But I mean, I told you, like I said, I'm a little older. I'm a little older, so I mean, I don't have those crazy I don't have any of those crazy 80 like parking lot thrash metal stories, like
heavy metal parking lot stories.
Yeah. No, I don't have any of those. Not quite.
It's all right. Not everybody. That's not for everybody.
So you didn't dig it that much. Okay, that's fine.
It was all right. I have.
What about you, Pat? Did you love it, Pat?
I haven't listened to it, admittedly. I'm ashamed now because you guys have gone in depth with it, and I'm usually into a lot of weird, crazy stuff like that. But I haven't gotten around to it. It's on the ever-growing list of bands, media, whatever to consume, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So I'm out of my element on that one, admittedly. So I would say, I mean, going off of what you're saying, I would say that I associate Mike Patton with I think of that old YouTube video of him with the mic in his mouth where he's just screaming and making different noises and stuff. And I'm a huge Dillinger fan, so hearing him on that initial EP, I think of him doing really out there stuff. But at the end of the day, someone like that, I think I take solace in them releasing what they want to release, and if they're gonna go kind of back to their roots a little bit from what I'm gathering from what you guys are saying, that's good on them. I can always get behind an artist releasing what they want to release. And if he's done stuff that's so weird and so out there, and then he's nah, I want to dial it back a little bit, I can get behind that every once in a while. It's just, I think with what Nikita's saying is you kind of go in expecting one thing and you get something else. There's that initial subversion, but I can always get behind an artist kind of saying, this is what I want to do. Here it is,
Fair enough. I mean, Mike Patton has such an extensive catalog,
right?
So I mean, he owns his own record label, so he could make an album of himself farting into a microphone and running it through effects, and I would probably buy it.
You mean Tomahawk?
Oh, I like Tomahawk.
I do too, but
I like Tomahawk. I like Peeping Tom.
Fantomas. I just because it's so funny because a lot of people get really defensive about Tomahawk, even though I like it.
I don't know anybody that hates Tomahawk.
I don't know anybody who hates it deeply. I mean, I know people who don't like it, but it's whatever. Not everything Mike Patton does is going to be for everybody.
But no. No, absolutely true. So who you do the vocals, Nikita, or some of the
Yeah,
vocals?
I do. I do lead vocals, and our bass player Rob does the backing vocals for most of the stuff live. Yep.
Now, have you worked in any melodicas or microphone megaphones or any kind of
Not yet. Not yet. I have some of the stuff I've been writing definitely kind of ventures more into like a weirder territory because I've been listening to a bit more weird music lately. So I could see that in the future, but not on this EP. This EP is straight just
right
painful screaming.
painful screaming?
Well, emotionally painful. I keep this thing nice and safe.
Well, you could be a mask wearing side project.
I could do that. I could do that. I could see that.
With the so Pat, you said you were listening to some weird stuff lately too, right?
I've always been like super into the proggier stuff in general. I mean, like, I got started with Maiden, but I was always a big Rush fan from like my dad showing me some of the older Rush albums. So that kind of
Yeah.
set me down the path with a lot of the more progressive stuff. I'm big into like Between the Buried and Me and just seeing all of the different weird directions that they can go. So if Nikita's trying to bring some weird stuff in for the next one, I'm all about that. I don't know. I just always like being able to draw in influences from a variety of different things, especially like I feel like it's good to be able to, with metal in particular, I don't want to say that it can get stale, but it's good to be able to really go out on the limb and push the limits of what's possible with it. And for me, that's what metal has always been about, is being able to push the limits of what possible musically. And like if we can bring in some, whether it be Nikita doing weird voices or any weird Mike Patton stuff, I'm all about that. I mean, I'm all over the place. I'm big into the Mars Volta. I've been trying to listen to some of the older, some smaller prog bands that I'd seen touring recently as well, like Stolas, the Kindreds. I don't know. I'm always into weird time signatures and getting all of that stuff brought into it as well. So I would be pumped to incorporate some of that stuff, but we got to make sure that's in line with what everyone's looking to do.
I mean, do you listen to like some like weird like house DJ music or anything like that?
I don't I'll put but those I'll usually go to like a playlist and just put like random stuff on. I couldn't list too many like favorite ones with them, but I don't know. Nikita and I will be playing like 1 second we're playing one of our songs and we're doing like blast beats and stuff like that. And next thing you know, we're jamming on like Take 5 and weird like jazz and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think it's always interesting to try to like see if we could incorporate some weird stuff like that down the line. I think jazz and metal actually have some weird like crossover potential there.
Oh yeah.
And like the mindset that goes on behind it, I think has always been really appealing to me, and the improv and like the free form nature of it, you know.
I don't know how much you guys know or care about Helmet, but I know Paige Hamilton is like has a master's or doctorate in jazz theory, guitar. A buddy of mine, and apparently he's teaching guitar lessons right now because a buddy of mine just posted on his Facebook how stoked he was to just have an hour guitar lesson with Paige Hamilton.
I mean, that's pretty sweet. I've heard like I've heard like a couple of the Helmet hits. I've never delved deep, but like a lot of the people who speak highly of Helmet always like talk about how like more intricate they are than they are. I guess I just never hear it on the hits. I might have to do a deep dive one day. As far as like weird house stuff, I mean, Pat would probably like Square Pusher. I think that'd be like right up your valley, Pat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I've always liked a lot of the like when Dillinger even incorporates a lot of the weird electronic elements with
Oh
it.
yeah.
I kind of liked a lot of the like electronic elements even on the earlier like Animals as Leaders albums and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm pretty open to whatever, but like I said, we just got to make sure that everyone's on the same page whenever we try to go in the weird direction like that.
Right. I mean, and that's a band you have to be on. You definitely have to be on the same page, or else it just sucks if you're all going.
Oh yeah.
Different directions.
Oh yeah. I've been there. I don't want to go back.
But yeah, I mean, Nikita, if you're the main songwriter and it's kind of your vision with the input of the other guys, then it should be no issue, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because at this point, Svn.Seeker has, with this EP, we have like a base of our sound, and while I do generally dabble in a lot of stuff. I don't want to necessarily take it so far left that it's like, all right, what even is this? You know what I mean? I think with every project, you have to have it develops its own kind of characteristics, its own flavors. And with that, I mean, I'll throw in some weirder points. I'll throw in some jazz chords. I've done that, a couple times already, but I'm not gonna. I don't think I'd see a Sunseeker going like full blown kind of bungly where every album's totally different necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if I get enough like pull to do my own solo record, that's gonna be different. That might be a different story. But
Yeah, right.
I mean, I definitely have been dabbling with some like weirder stuff. The time signatures are weirder. I know I have a song, the one that we have finished. I have to completely go back and refigure out the times because I don't know what I did, but I need to make it a lot more even. Pat knows what I'm talking about because the tab is a big mess of just one measure is in like 15/8 and one is in 6/4 and it doesn't make sense. So I got to fix that. But it definitely gets into like weirder stuff. Like a lot of the things start on like an upbeat, and some of the measures are in some like wonky times between like two different sections. So it's definitely there. The weirdness is there, but it's not too out there where it's inaccessible. I'm not talking bitches brew or anything yet.
The keyword is yet.
Yeah. We'll see how we go.
I think too is like when you're first getting started like we are, you don't really have the luxury necessarily of jumping around a crazy amount too. If you're making melodic death metal, and next thing you know, you're pulling out weird jazz breaks and stuff like that. Like, what am I listening to right now? This isn't what I signed up for. So maybe if we get
like, what are you doing, Opeth?
Yeah, right. Not quite yet. We'll work our way up to it.
I still love Opeth, don't get me wrong.
No, same here, without a doubt.
Some of the best vocals I've ever seen live. Every time I've seen Opeth live, his like live vocals, I was just like blown away. It sounds just like the album. And I remember I'd seen him with Mastodon and Ghost
2011
probably, and I just remember walking in and just being like blown away with how good the vocals sounded on that show in general. I mean, Ghost's vocals were fantastic as well, but Opeth in particular, I remember listening to Lotus Eater and just, I don't know, man, his lows are like straight up summoning the devil, and his cleans were like, oh my gosh, I feel like I got my headphones in and I'm listening to it right then and there. So I've been really impressed every time I've seen them.
Those fucking Swedes, man, they know how to do it.
They're too good.
They've got the like Ozzy effect too, where it's like when they talk normally, or like I feel like I can't understand you very well, but then he sings and you're like, it's the voice of an angel.
That's just the thing. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. It's magic.
Scandinavian winter magic.
Yeah. So I mean, God, I should never talk about the weather on here, but I can't help it. I'm an old man. What's the weather like up there right now? You guys snowed in?
Dude, it's been so up and down. Like we had, what was it? Over the weekend, we had a bunch of snow, and then it melted within that same day in most parts. And now it's like fairly warm for New England standards. It hasn't been like consistently cold for more than 3 days so far. So global warming's doing a hell on us. I'll say that.
We're like getting a storm Wednesday, and it's like you don't even.
I thought we were supposed to be getting it tomorrow.
Maybe both.
Who knows anymore? I give up.
I just talked to somebody. I saw somebody that I work with. They left to go work at ESPN in Bristol last year around winter,
and they got laid off.
So they went to go work up there, and it was winter and it sucked. And then winter started. It became spring, and then the pandemic hit, and everything's just closed down.
Yeah,
and now stuff is still closed, and winter's back. So they just hated being there. They said it was just terrible. But they left. But it's a weird situation with us. Like my job, I don't know how much I want to say on the air.
Right.
But it's the whole thing with Disney and Fox merger. It's kind of weirdness with all of that. So,
I can imagine being part of Disney is weird no matter what.
yeah, it's fun though. You get to go to Disney World for free.
Yeah, my girlfriend has a coworker who used to work for ESPN, and so he was telling me some stories recently.
Yeah, I went a month and a half ago for my birthday. I went and made a lightsaber on my birthday.
The dream.
Nice.
Fuck
That
yeah,
is the
dude.
dream.
That's right. I took my mom with me.
Oh, hell yeah.
She had never been either, so
Did she make the
perfect.
lightsaber too, though?
she did not. No.
Ugh,
It was
never.
it's a $200. That was something I didn't get a discount on. Like things like that. Things like that. Cast members don't get discounts on.
Nah, well, I guess that's a small price to pay to be able to get in for free.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. It was worth it though, man. It was cool. It was also cool.
Awesome, dude. Hell yeah.
So I mean, being the only thing I know about Bristol, Connecticut is ESPN is there.
That's the only thing anybody knows, man. You're not alone.
So tell me some other facts about Bristol.
I only just moved here in July, but
Okay.
I've been visiting my girlfriend. It's like any other kind of lower middle class city. It's got its issues. It's got its good points. It's got its one rich neighborhood that you never see, and you just got people getting by, and you have a lot of gas stations and bad drivers. We got Dunkin' Donuts, so that's sweet, right?
I guess.
No, I mean, it's you know, it's, I guess it's, how do I even put it? It's like New England, you know what I mean? Every place has its like cities that have that one thing that they're known for, and we have ESPN and then like C plus amusement park. That's kind of it.
Well, is it called C plus amusement park?
No, it's called like compounds, but I mean, it's like
That's the rating. The rating you'd give it. C
it's
plus.
like a budget Six Flags, I'd say.
A budget Six Flags.
America's fastest wooden roller coaster, Nikita. Why are you underselling?
Is it still though? Is it still?
I don't know.
Is Boulder Dash still up there? I know Wildcat is old as hell. I think it's one of the oldest.
I will never go on Wildcat. I worked at Lake Compounds when I was younger, and I worked at the food stand right next to the Wildcat, and they were putting so much work on it every day that I was just like,
dude, that coaster.
But that's the good thing. They were putting work on it. I rode the Cyclone in Coney Island, and nobody was working on it. What's that?
Isn't that the one that decapitates at least 3 people a year?
I wouldn't be shocked. It was scary and not intentionally so.
Right. It's just like held together with spit and hope.
Yeah.
Wildcat's kind of like that, but like Pat said, they at least have people working on it, like putting extra spit on it, so it's a little bit more stable. But that thing bruised my hip when I was in 5th grade because it jerked so hard to the left. I was like, nope, can't do it no more.
They all do there, honestly, man. Even when it's been years since I went, but when I would go to Boulder Dash, my hips would get destroyed going on that. So you are definitely right.
Jeffrey Chance says you can't forget Aaron Hernandez.
Hernandez came from Bristol. My girlfriend had classes with him in high school, so
I worked at the food stand at the amusement park, and I made burritos for Aaron Hernandez. So there we go. We made it.
I got you one better. My girlfriend was in high school, and she saw him drop his pants and shake his pee-pee at people for funsies. So, well, I don't know if it was exactly that, but I do know she would say he would like to drop his pants as a joke. Whether it was like shaking his pee-pee or mooning people, I don't want to be slanderous here, but it's just high school stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that would get you on a sexual predator list these days.
Nah, well, he's dead. What am I gonna do?
Did he die? Did he kill? Did he kill himself?
Yeah, that was in prison.
In prison, he killed himself.
Yep.
Yeah, it's funny how people kill themselves in prison.
Well, sometimes they actually do. Sometimes they legitimately do. I went down the rabbit hole of prison YouTubers for the past like year or so. Like I've just been watching guys who are like in locked up for 10 to 20 years, and they come out and like do interviews, and it's wild. Some people legitimately just can't handle it, and they do it. But it depends. Like from what I understand, it depends. I could go on for this. I watch too much of this stuff. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that's fine. I mean, so I mean, yeah, there's a pandemic going on. How's that affected you guys personally?
Well, all of our shows got canceled, and that fucking sucked.
Of course.
We had a couple of shows. We had definitely 2 shows set for the spring. One with our buddies, with a bunch of friends of mine from a couple.
This coming spring or this past spring?
Oh, this past spring, March,
Okay.
back March 21st, we had a really nice show set up with a bunch of friends from a couple bands from Connecticut, and a couple bands from New York City we had coming down. And that was fun. We had another one in May that we were booked on as well. And I mean, it's just we can't play out, and I don't exactly have the money to start setting up like a live streaming thing for shows necessarily. But it impacted the recording too, because we were supposed to be done with recording and mixing and mastering, funny enough, probably by March. But with the pandemic, Dave, our engineer, was moving to North Carolina, and so he was kind of setting up a studio there, and then coming back to record in Connecticut. And it wasn't just us; he had a couple of other projects he was working on as well. So we had to, figure out what was a good time for us to get in there and finish up like the last few things, and then, by the time he got done with all the other projects he was behind on and mixed and mastered us, and then with the artwork, it pushed back just about everything. And so besides shows, we didn't practice for probably like a solid month, maybe month and a half, just to be safe, because we were all working in different areas and we have different levels of contact with the public. But the biggest one is, like every other band, we couldn't even play local shows, and I wanted to get out, possibly get to the city, definitely hit Massachusetts. That's a big market for a lot of bands. Do a lot of networking myself and stuff like that. And we make do. We try to make content online. There's only so much you can do as a band when you don't have music out to put up content. So, we did what we could, but I mean, I think we're doing okay now that we finally have the EP and some songs. We can definitely crank that up. But I'm still missing playing live. Although we did do that show in August. We did do that outdoor show, so that was really nice. I was sweating my ass off, but it was fun.
Well, tell me more about that.
One of my buddies who plays in More in the Light out of Connecticut, he was booking a couple of outdoor shows at this restaurant and bar. And he was doing it. He was great. He had everything socially distanced. The stage was like 10 feet from the people, so everybody was safe. Masks were required. Everything was, I think it had a cap of like 40 people. So by no means was it like something that we would definitely make money on or be huge for us, but it was just a chance to get out and play. And you know what? Like, I took it. It was awesome, I think. I think we were all just so starved to play live that we needed it, and it was good. It was a lot of fun. What do you think, Pat? You had fun?
Yeah, no, I mean, I had never played outdoors before, so it was definitely a new experience. And when we haven't played a crazy amount of shows yet, so the mindset was just kind of any situation like that we can get under our belt is really just going to be valuable experience for us, especially when because of the whole situation with COVID, it was a good opportunity to kind of get out there. And again, I'm glad it was like everybody was far apart and we were able to kind of adhere to all the guidelines and stuff that we needed to. But yeah, it was definitely a good experience. I'm glad we were able to get it in there.
Awesome. Well, how was it said it was outdoors and people were like distanced, and were people wearing masks or no
Yep. Nope. They all were up. You have a set table, basically assigned seating, if you will. Everyone had to keep their masks on, obviously, unless they were eating, because you had to have food if you're going to order drinks.
Right.
Okay. Everyone was safe. No one was moving between tables. It was just pretty straightforward, really chill, and just having a good time listening to some music. We had a fun one. I definitely would do it again. Hopefully with COVID vaccines and more moving, because goddamn, it was still kind of weird, but I was still glad we took that, man. That was a dream.
Did anybody video record it?
We had a couple clips taken up from a local musician named Erica. She definitely put up a couple clips. I don't think we got a full video of the set though.
Okay. All right. Well, cool, guys. Well, we've been going for about an hour. I don't want to keep you much longer. I know you guys are an hour later than it is here.
That flew.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad you felt that way, that it was fun enough for you guys to stay on with me for this time.
That was a fun combo.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for emailing me and being a last minute guest.
Yeah. Thanks for taking a listen. I know, like you said, when you get all those press emails, you don't know which one to touch. Some of them you look at the description, you're just like, nah, I can't do it. So thanks for taking the chance, man. Appreciate it.
Well, like I said, I mean, you gave me a personal message in that. It wasn't just a press blast. It was like, hey, Rob, you said my name, and you spelled it right. So I'm not sure if Jesse sent you my way or how you got my information, but
I think honestly, I stalked somebody's Twitter follows for like leads a while ago when I was building the email list, and yours happened to come up, and I was like, you know what, bam,
cool.
seems like a swell fella. I'm gonna keep that email.
A Mike Patton fan. You didn't even know.
It was that telekinesis.
Right. Can you imagine Mike? Well, I mean, okay, so they made a thrash album. Could you imagine him doing a death metal album? Well, I mean, Dead Cross is not
more on like the hardcore side.
More hardcore.
I could see. I mean, seeing what he did with Dillinger, I mean, I definitely could see him doing like a death metal album, without a doubt.
Like a Dismember, Entombed kind of death metal album.
Right.
He could do it.
Oh, I mean, he can do anything, really. Come on, it's Mike.
And he wouldn't ruin his throat like Chris Barnes.
Well, he ruined his throat with copious amounts of weed and zero practicing.
Yeah.
That he's something, guys.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
Not as terrible as his vocals or his body odor.
I don't want to get close to him to know. All right, Pat, Nikita, Svn.Seeker. I'm going to let you guys go.
Thanks so much, man.
All right.
I'm
gonna have I got some more stuff to say. Again, I'm a death peddler for Liquid Death. There's a link in the description. Hit that link. Buy Liquid Death by using my link. They have all kinds of cool merchandise as well. Speaking of merchandise, I have my own. I've got this hoodie with this heavy metal Santa on it. It's on the pocket. It's on the back. And I've got these T-shirts. I've got red, green, and black. Badass design by my buddy Danny. And I do have a new design up that my friend Darklighter made. I don't think. Let me see if I can put this. I don't know why I'm burping. Let's see if I could put this up here. You know what? I'm not going to worry about it right now. But it's on. You go to buymymerch.net. Oh, buymymerch.net, and you'll see it there. And if you use the code HOHOHO10, you'll save 10% off. I'm going to try these. See how these work. So follow my Instagram. That's the one. Like the Facebook page. Subscribe to the YouTube and hit that notification bell. All right, follow the Twitter. I'm gonna have to figure out how to get these things going without the black. I don't know. I bought these from Creator Set, and I feel like maybe I kind of got ripped off for those. Probably could have figured out how to get them for cheaper that I could use without covering up everything. So yeah, Nikita, thanks again for having us on, man. That was fun. Cool. What else? Oh yeah, I use StreamYard to make this broadcast. I'm broadcasting on several different online platforms at the same time. If you'd like to use StreamYard, please use my referral link. It is in the description. And if you want to know what this statue is, that's Mother Russia in Volgograd, Russia. It used to be Stalingrad, but it's a big statue of Mother Russia. That's where Nikita came from. So thought that was cool. I like to put backgrounds of something that is somewhat familiar to my guests. So cool. All right. So until next week, I'm going to have I have bands lined up the next couple of weeks. Just make sure you follow the Instagram and Facebook, and you'll see exactly who we will have. hit that notification bell when you subscribe, and you'll be notified. But every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time, I'm going to have a different band on here. So I have the next 4 weeks booked, if not more. So if you're in a band and you want to come on, send me a message like Nikita did, and we'll get it going. All right. Until then, drink water, listen to metal, and enjoy nature.